African Superstar family. Good morning, good morning. This is the one and only African Superstar back at it again, coming to see the family with a live stream. Yes, when you come in the room, make sure you like the stream and you get into the chat. This is normal standard protocol for live streams. Okay, so if you're not down to participate, check out the playback. Yes, I know this one is going to be a little early for my American viewers. Yes. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. Shout outs to my members only who are supporting the platform on a monthly basis and getting behind the scenes content. I did post a members only video yesterday for you guys. So please check that out. What's up to all the family? This is also to let you know for the near future, I'm offering bespoke tours in Ghana. I have a group tour upcoming October 19th through the 26th. Yeah, I think that's right. Yes, a collaborative tour with Mr. Taye Uhuru. So do not miss that if you want to meet with us in Ghana. Today I want to talk about a current event that's happening in Ghana and share this with you guys. Please make sure you guys like the stream. I see you coming into the room. Go ahead and like the stream, get into the chat room, and I will begin the topic. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. Yes. So we're waiting for you in the chat room, family. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. This is the one and only African Superstar. Want to talk about this. Thank you so much. Okay, I see that like. All right, all right, all right. Yes. I want to talk about the lessons that those of us abroad should take from the CD appreciation. Now, any of you guys that have ever traveled to Ghana or any of my Ghana foe know what the CD is. The CD is the currency of Ghana. Okay. And recently, kind of in conjunction with the rest of the world, the dollar has been on the decline and the CD has been on the rise. And so what that means is, I'd say probably a couple months ago, one dollar equaled about, I believe, $15 or $16. I mean, 15 or 16 CDs. Okay. And what this means to those of us abroad is that currency exchange has been the advantage of the diaspora coming to Africa. The fact that one of their dollars is going to get them a bit further, and for most places across the continent, not just in Africa, but, Mexico, Asia, Latin America, and in many places, the US dollar has converted into a lot more in other currencies. This is kind of one of the attractions of why many people do seek to come and work and migrate and all that to America, is because of the currency exchange. Big shout outs to the family. I know you guys are listening. I see you there. We have 10 of you. Let's get the likes up, please. And any of you, feel free to get into the chat room. I know it's early for those of you guys in America, but a live stream is a live stream. Hello. And I know we're international. So please, your participation is needed during live streams. Please be on code. Do not be the weak link. It's very simple. Like the stream, be a part of the conversation. So the currency exchange has been the advantage of Westerners for decades. You know what I mean? A lot of Westerners will retire in foreign countries because of this advantage. And those of us that have traveled internationally have seen, okay, for the cost of living in the Western world, for the cost of living in the UK or America or Canada, man, I can get a bigger apartment. I can, have a little bit more flexibility on my income. I can eat better quality foods. I can live in a better, perhaps weather, tropical environment. This has been our advantage. Now, obviously, for people that are holding dollars or holding pounds and they're converting them into CDs, the CD appreciation is not good for them. It actually kind of equalizes the playing field between an American and a Ghanaian in so many ways, because, eventually If it ever got to the case where, which I understand in the past, there was a time when $1 equaled one CD. Okay. And if that happens, a lot of the diaspora and other foreigners, they're not going to be able to negotiate life in Africa because they are purely benefiting off of the currency exchange, me included. You know what I mean? If $400 becomes 400 CDs, compared to, for the large majority of the time I've been in Ghana since 2020, $400 is going to get you in the thousands range in CDs. Usually I just always kind of rounded it about 1,000 CDs per $100. That's how it's been, for my time in Ghana. But the reality is, if it turns into $400 equals 400 CDs, a lot of us will not be able to live in Ghana or afford the current lifestyles that we have. So the lessons that I want to talk about today. Hello, guys. Are you guys in the chat room? Let me see a number one, please. It's not hard. Let me see a number one if you're in the chat room. Crowd support is necessary. Just be on code, guys. Number one from anybody in the chat room. You can let us know where you're viewing from. I know my platform is beneficial, so I don't feel that it's unreasonable to ask for you guys to also participate. Hello. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. Where are you? Don't tell me everybody watching me today is a spectator. Oh my God. Let me see a number one if you're in the chat room. Because I can assume maybe you can't hear me. So if you can't hear me, then I don't want to keep talking. All right. Big shout outs. I shows fast. I see you there. Thank you so much. What the lessons that we should be taking from this is, number one, what I often promote on this channel, which is stop dragging your feet. Stop dragging your feet with your Africa plan. For those of you guys, you 5-year, 10-year, 20-year planners and all this stuff, it's not realistic. Things are changing. Things are fluctuating. I can tell you that the cost of living has gone up in Ghana over the past 5 years as Ghana has grown in popularity. And it's supply and demand. People want to see what all the hype is about. Some people want to invest. Some people just want to reconnect to Africa and all this stuff. You delaying your plans is going to ultimately be your downfall, because with a situation like this where the CD is appreciating, that means that your dollar is not going to go that far in Africa the way that it is, well, the way that it has been performing historically, which means that you may be priced out. This is something I want to also illuminate to Ghanaian diaspora that's abroad. A lot of you guys have never considered the reality that maybe your dollar or your pound is not going to get you extra money in Ghana. If that's the case, what are you going to do? Because if you're banking on, oh, I'm going to retire in Ghana, considering that $100 is 1,000 CDs, if you're preparing for that, and suddenly, $100 is 100 CDs, that's a huge change in currency exchange. And those things could potentially happen. You never know what the future brings. You never know what the future brings. Thank you, Blackavelli. I see you there. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you guys for being in the chat room today. Make sure you guys hit the likes when you come in. It's the one and only African Superstar. I'm talking about the CD appreciation. The currency in Ghana is continually rising. It has I think the last I checked, it was around maybe 9 CDs to the dollar, when just about a month or so ago it was about 16. And this is something I think a lot of Westerners are not really familiar with, the fluctuation of their currency for the most part. We are accustomed to seeing higher prices and, nations going through inflation or recessions and all this kind of stuff. But typically, the pound, the dollar, they have remained relatively stable throughout these years. We haven't seen a drastic increase. Living in Ghana, I've seen where the CD fell a few years ago. And basically it was like, it dramatically changed. It was like $1 to maybe I don't know, maybe 20 CDs or something like that. And, the Ghanaians were really feeling the crunch. And then I remember that President Nana Akufo-Addo, he stabilized it right before December time because a lot of Ghanaians come home and, he dealt with that. I believe it was some type of inflation. It was for a few months period. And now on this change, the CD is strengthening against the dollar. So in that previous example, when the CD fell, people that have foreign currency and would convert into CDs were up. They were benefiting because they're actually going to get more CDs for every dollar. But in this case, you're getting less CDs for every dollar. And so this is a part of your journey when you head to the continent, because you have to be able to adapt to your environment. Another lesson, in addition to stop delaying your plans, is you need to try to focus on getting local currency as well. I know many diasporans, me included, have been relying upon our foreign investments and things like that as our primary income while living abroad. This is a big problem, and this is very problematic. And because of this example, we can see why. Because if you are relying on foreign currency and somehow that currency exchanges, or it fluctuates in a way that's not favorable for you, you're going to be at a disadvantage. However, if you're earning local currencies, whether it's up or whether it's down, you are able to still have a source of income in the country. So for a lot of you, you may not know all the things that I do. I do a myriad of things to earn money. I do speaking engagements. I do musical performances. I recently had an acting role, which I was paid for. I offer tours. I offer consultations and mentorship. And then I have YouTube as well as some dividends from stocks and bonds. And so I collect a variety of incomes from around. And we're also working on to restore my website. We're trying to get that updated and bring Afrikansuperstar.com back like she never left, to also have that source of income. So, but I have also been focusing and trying to hone in on earning local currency in Ghana to alleviate this type of problem. Because the last lesson I want to talk about is you've got to anticipate change, especially regarding the continent. You must anticipate change. Okay. You are dealing with the final frontier of development in the world. You're also dealing with the hotspot, the economic hotspot, which means that the Ghana of today, the Senegal of today, the Kenya of today, it can be drastically different within the next 5 to 10 years. There's an economic boom, there's a land grab, there's development, there's a lot of migration happening and tourism. So you've got to anticipate change. Some of you guys that are, you are antiquated in your thinking that Africa is going to remain the way that it has always been. A lot of things are flawed with that mentality, first of all. Antimony, I see you there. Big shout outs to the family. Guys, let's get the likes up. Hello, hello. What's up, Mr. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights? Shout outs to you. Good morning to my viewers. Shout outs to my American viewers. I know it's early on your side, but sorry. This just came and I decided to bring it to you. Yes. Some of you are very antiquated in your thinking regarding the continent, and the flaws with that is, first of all, most of us who have grown up abroad and not been traveling to the continent or had direct familial ties or anything, we're very ignorant to the continent in general. Hello. We've received false information or no information about the continent, what the continent is really like. So for a lot of you, what even your idea of Africa is wrong in the first place. Number two, the economic boom that's happening there is creating insurmountable growth. So for even you Ghanaians who've been living abroad 20 years, 15 years, you haven't even been back to Ghana and you think, oh yeah, it's my home. You know what I mean? I know the place. My dear, I can tell you the changes I've seen in just 5 years of living in Ghana. The place is transforming. If your interests are in the continent, wherever your interest lies, I have to promote you. Take a lesson from this CD appreciation. This could happen anywhere across the continent. If you're dealing in East Africa, it could be the shilling. I know that Nigeria is in kind of an economic crisis, but you know, the naira could appreciate, the rand could appreciate. You know, if these things happen, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And that's what you need to be thinking about. Now, I would also say, I know that this is positive for the Ghanaian people, the local Ghanaian people. And for them, I'm very, very happy for them because obviously you don't want to live in an environment where the countrymen are unhappy or the countrymen are really struggling or the countrymen can't make ends meet, because as an expat, that's only going to make potentially the danger to you more real and more prominent. As people get under the crunch, crime increases, sentiments increase, sometimes xenophobia increases because people feel like, yeah, you're enjoying, you got it made while we're struggling for a piece of bread. So, I also think it's selfish of us to not think about how this may potentially benefit Ghanaians in the country. We've had the currency advantage for a long time because I've seen online, I've seen some Ghanaians complaining because they're sending money back home and the money, other people are in the middle of building projects. So this definitely affects them because the cost of materials is now going to cost them more money if they're dealing in dollars or pounds to buy the materials than previously. And they've probably calculated, their project costs and all of that. But in reality, look, things change. All right, things change. And this is why if you have interest on the content, delaying your movement is going to cost you. I have news for some of you guys that are abroad that think you're going to come and retire in Ghana in 10 and 15 years and you're not actively, investing or keeping abreast of what's going on or traveling or trying to make moves. The day may come where even if you have $50,000 and you came to Ghana or you came with $100,000, you won't be able to get into the market. Okay. Think about it like your current environment. Most of you, if you have 50,000 pounds, that's nothing in the UK. The only advantage with that 50,000, if you're taking it back to Nigeria or you're taking it back to Ghana because of currency exchange. Okay. If ever the plane equalizes, you're going to be nothing in Africa the way that you're nothing in the Western world. And some of you be like, no, I'm a child of God. I'm not in anything. I'm just being honest and straightforward. Okay, let's not be displaced about what gives us an advantage in Africa. Okay, what gives us the advantage as Westerners in Africa is the currency exchange. All right, plain and simple. Because a lot of you, especially with no significant source of income, you couldn't go and live in Africa if it weren't for your foreign currency. Because you're not operating businesses there. You know what I mean? You don't have investments there. You don't have family there. You don't work professionally there or anything. So if you look at it like that, this is a concerning thing that anyone who is interested or anyone who's currently living on the continent should definitely be mindful. If you're not in Ghana, just take a page from our book as a diasporian, as an expat. This should be something that you provide. And what I can tell you is businesses and industries that provide that daily bread, huh? Those are great places to look and start evaluating what you can do. Because sometimes I think also diasporians have very grandiose ideas of what they want to do. And they may not have the capital necessary and they may not have the wherewithal of the environment to do that. You can't just come to a foreign country where you don't know the language and just plug in. That's very, very dangerous and unwise. You need to know a bit about your demographic. I mean, if you've done any type of business or marketing, market analyzing is part of it. You've got to know your demographic and how you're going to appeal to them. Simply maybe taking a cookie cutter idea from America and bringing it to Ghana, it may not flourish because of the taste and the preferences and the ideology of the people. So looking at that daily bread as to, okay, what can I provide? Can I get into transportation sector? In Ghana, the water business is really booming. I know that for a fact, because sometimes the water does not always flow. So people have to purchase water tanks to fill up their house and things like that. So if you're able to get a water treatment plan or something like that going, or even if you just sell water, sell water on a roadside shop or get a little convenience shop. Things like this are ways that you can get daily bread. It doesn't have to be a huge, big idea. Some of you like, yeah, I want to build a shopping mall in Dakar. I want to build a 50-room apartment building. A lot of these things are very grandiose and it's going to take a lot of capital to get started. Sometimes you just evaluate where you can plug in and get started, because I'm telling you, if you're living in Africa, it's probably for your best interest that you are earning some of that local currency for reasons like this. Because if you ain't operating in dollars but you operating in CDs and you see the CD appreciate, you're going to be happy about that. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family. Guys, are you there? Hello, is this message, is it relevant to you? Because nobody's in the chat room. What's up? I see like 3, and it says we have like 10 viewers. So where are you guys? Big shout outs to you guys. Yes. So I want to talk about the CD appreciation. I want to talk about what this means to those of us on the continent, those of us planning to be there. You know, you have to take all these things into consideration. That way you can have the longevity. And another thing, you may also have like reserves in the country. You know what I mean? So if you have like a Ghanaian bank account, or, I know one of the popular investments by Ghanaians is called treasure bonds. And so they work like bonds in the US and things like that. You just kind of put money in and they pay you interest, and you can either collect it. I believe it's like quarterly or annually or something like that. A lot of, Ghanaian diaspora, that's what they do when they return, is they kind of put their money up and just live off of the residuals. So there are investments you can make in Ghana that will allow you to earn CDs, and that will kind of insulate you against maybe this dollar issue. So thanks to those of you guys that came in and spent a little time with me. Yes, I wanted to bring this to you guys. I also want to remind you guys, I'm available for your consultations. If you have questions about Ghana, I can prepare, detailed information for you either via email, or we can have audio or video calls to go over your concerns and issues. I also offer mentoring for some of you guys that need motivation, that need common sense, that need leadership. I'm a very strong leader. So I have a lot to offer in that direction. Or if you have young people that you would love me to, take up that role in their life, I'm very happy to offer mentoring to them. Obviously, I can keynote your event or perform at your event. So your girl is multifaceted. Hello. And I think if you need my services, you should take advantage of them, because, hey, if I turn into a big movie star, I may not be available for all these things anymore. So, yes. Big shout outs to you guys. Also, join us in Ghana. Me and Mr. Taye Uhuru have an upcoming tour in October. All the details are at www.tayeahuru.com. We want to see you in Ghana. I made a post last week about a GK, one of my members only members, and she came to visit us from St. Louis last March in Ghana. And one of the unique things we offer on our tour is a kente cloth photo shoot. So you actually get your own complimentary kente cloth along with the royal slippers, which are called a hinema, and you get an epic photo shoot with the one and only African superstar. and Mr. Taye Uhuru. I also have some guests coming in July. Shout outs to the brides coming in from Atlanta for their own bespoke private tour with the African Superstar. And we have arranged for them to have their own kente cloth custom photo shoot as well. So that's something unique I offer that I don't see other people do. And I would be happy to provide you as well. So you can either come on our group tour in October, or if you want to organize a private tour with me, just get in contact at africansuperstar@gmail.com. Also, guys, make sure you're streaming the African Superstar music. Hello. Yes, I'm an award-winning musician. I have a lot of great music out there. So my most recent release is called Boom Boom. The audio is here on YouTube as well as streaming on all the streaming outlets. So definitely acquaint yourself with my music. It's amazing. I put a lot of effort into good quality lyrics. It's family friendly, so your kids can also listen and enjoy. And yes. All right, guys. Well, thank you for your time today. I will see you guys all again very soon. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.